Hi, I'm Angel Montalvo. I'm with the SAFE Ambassadors, representing the Department of Transportation. SAFE stands for Streets Are for Everybody. And today we have here...
I'm Amanda Woodall. I'm the Program Director for the Divvy Bike Sharing System at the Chicago Department of Transportation.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate your time and coming into the studio. So what is Divvy?
Divvy is Chicagoland's bike sharing system. People can check out bikes from a network of almost 700 stations throughout the region. We have a footprint of over 155 square miles currently. A lot of people don't realize that Divvy is a city-owned system. It was actually launched with federal funds that were granted to the city of Chicago in 2013. And now we've established a partner with our operator, Lyft, who's contracted to operate the system, and they're also our system sponsor. So thanks to their $50 million capital investment, we're actually able to expand the system citywide. So right now, we're at 155 square miles, but we'll be at more than 200 when we complete our work in 2022.
That's great to hear. So here I see you brought some bikes here today. Can you tell us a little bit about these bikes?
Sure. The system currently has two different types of bikes. This is the blue pedal bike that most people are familiar with. They are 3-speed. They have a gear shift on the right handlebar and a bell for safety. There's a cargo basket with a strap where you can strap longer items and bags in. So this is the traditional tank that we've had since we first launched in 2013. Last year in 2020, Lyft integrated this fleet of black hybrid electric e-bikes into the system. So what's different about these bikes is that they have this battery pack that provides a boost up to 20 miles per hour. So all you have to do is get on the bike and pedal, and you immediately feel that boost that makes it easier for you to be able to go further, faster. There is also a gear shift type of slider on the right handlebar here that allows you to adjust the torque on the pedals depending on whether you're on a hill or starting at a straightaway from an intersection. Also has that safety bell, a slightly larger basket that also has the strap that people can use to keep their items secure. But the real game changer about this bike is that it has this built-in onboard locking mechanism. And what this means is that the station can still the bike can still dock in a traditional station, but people can also lock up to a public bike parking rack. They can lock up to a signpost, a retired parking meter, or any legal parking space. So what this does is it means that you have a lot more flexibility. When you end your trip, you don't have to be at a station, and there are different zones in the city that have different sort of requirements for how that works, but it really does change things and make things a lot more convenient for people. Another thing to keep in mind is that the seat post is adjustable. There's a quick release here, and there's numbers on the seat post. So something that a lot of people do that can be handy is to learn what is their number so that anytime they check out a bike, they've got it at the right height for them.
Nice. One of the things I do notice is just the lighting system in itself, and I've noticed that when we did take out this bike and actually rode a little bit, that this light comes on in the back, turns on, and this one doesn't have too much of that lighting system, or not as bright as that one, right?
Right. It's sort of different technology. But what the key is that once you get on the bike and you start pedaling, the lights automatically kick in. So people have that visibility when they're out riding at night. You don't have to have a headlamp. You don't have to have a tail light. You don't have to have any of that stuff. You also don't have to have a bike lock with you, right? It's all built into the system. It's more convenient for people. So on the traditional blue pedal bike, it does emit a pulse because that's something that just really catches the eye of drivers when you're out in the dark. Same thing on the rear. There are flashing red rear lights. For the e-bike, it's more of a steady beam, but it is, I believe, slightly brighter than on the traditional bike. So the point being that you can get out and go at any time and you're compliant with all the rules about visibility as a cyclist on the street. And another thing that's really great about it is that you don't have to do any maintenance on it, right?
Great.
Everybody's got a bike not everybody, but a lot of people have a bike that's in their garage or in their basement with a rusty chain and some flat tires. And in order to get out there, they have to take it to a shop. You got to put it in the car. You got to find somebody to get you there. And what's great about Divvy is that none of that cost or headache is involved. You've always got a ride ready for you.
That's great to hear. So who is Divvy for?
Well, Divvy is for everyone. You do have to be 16 or over in order to access the system, but people use the system for all different kinds of reasons in all different parts of the city. There are a lot of people who feel that biking is really just only something they want to use for recreational use, for health and leisure, something that they would want to do at a trail or in a park. And so, we've been planning the network around that when we hear that that's what community members really want. But there are also a lot of people who can use bike share to connect to transportation and transit, which is one of the reasons why it's a program of the Chicago Department of Transportation. So we do place all of these as well, to be able to serve trains and bus lines. The thing that is, I think, most meaningful for people is, if you're a person who takes 2 buses to get to your job, a Divvy trip can maybe mean just one bus ride instead of 2. Or if you get off a late shift at 11 o'clock at night and maybe some of the service that is available to you reduces or slows down, this creates another option for people to be able to get around. It's also a great thing for people who maybe they have kids that have bikes, but they themselves don't have bikes. And they want to be able to ride, they want to be able to teach their kids to ride, and they want to be able to have that family experience. And this is another thing that can help them. So there are all sorts of different reasons. And basically, you should always expect a person to be on a Divvy bike. It's not for anyone, it's for everyone.
Great. One thing that stands out to me is like how convenient and how easy it is to get on these bikes, right? You don't really have to think too much, right? And one of the things is, as a commuter myself, when I'm going to a destination, I have to do a lot of preparation, right? I have to make sure my bike's maintained. I have to make sure that, it's actually working. And then I have to like take it up the stairs or down the stairs and stuff. So Divvy just makes it so easy where you can just go to a stop and actually take it out and go on your trip. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, how do people get access to Divvy?
There are many ways for people to access Divvy. First of all, there are sort of different levels of usage, right? You can get a single ride. You can get a day pass that gets you an unlimited number of trips during that day. You can also become a member. When you become an annual member, you can get an unlimited number of rides, up to a 45-minute ride limit, which is a really great value for a lot of people. In addition to that, we recognize that there is a need for a lot of folks who may be facing financial barriers. So we have a program that's called Divvy for Everyone, where people can qualify if they have a SNAP card, Link card, if they qualify for any public benefits. Also, if you qualify for federal student financial aid, you can qualify for that program. So people can find out more about that at divvybikes.com/D4E. That's D, the letter, the number 4E. So we definitely want to make that clear as well. I think a lot of people see it and they think, oh, this is a technology-based system, but we want to make sure that everybody understands that there is an option for them. But when it comes to actually accessing, forget signing up or whatever kind of trip you want to take, when it comes to actually accessing the system itself, there are a few different ways that can work. People can, you can get the app. There's a Divvy app on your smartphone if you have one. And they're also in the Lyft app as well. People can use their smartphone to scan. They have these QR codes on the stem caps, and some of them have it on the fender as well. So that's one way that people can start a trip. Also, if you become a member, or particularly if you don't have a smartphone, like if you're going back to the flip phone, which a lot of people are, you can become a member and they'll give you a key fob that looks like this. These are my keys. I've got a couple of these because I'm in the system. But you can use this to wave over the back of, there's a ring lock on the back here that you can wave over that sensor in order to unlock one of the e-bikes. And if you're checking out one of the old school pedal bikes from the station, there is, on the dock itself, there's a specific spot where you can insert the fob right into a slot. You wait for the light to turn green, and then you're able to pull the bike out. A couple of tips we want to make sure everybody knows is that when you return the bike to the station, you need to make sure that you press the bike all the way in and wait until that light turns green, because you want to make sure that you've fully ended your trip. That's just one really important thing for people to know. And another thing to keep in mind is, not everybody knows where all the stations are, obviously. It's sort of like transit. When you are going to get on a bus or you're going to get on a train, you got to plan ahead. You need to know what route you're getting on. You need to know what stop it is. So we definitely recommend that people either use the app to plan ahead or to go online to divvybikes.com/map that shows where all of the stations are. Another really important key is that as we expand, there will be 2 different types of stations in our system. And some of them are the traditional heavyweight stations that accommodate the blue pedal bikes. But some of them are what we call lightweight stations, and they're designed just to accommodate these e-bikes. And they, the cable lock will lock right through there. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Not only do you want to make sure that there's a station near your destination, but make sure that it can accommodate the type of bike that you have when you start your trip.
Nice. And one thing that really stands out to me is the fact that, like you said, it's really for everybody. Divvy has really thought through the process of making sure that it doesn't matter who you are, what neighborhood you're in, it is for you, right? And I really enjoy hearing that. So what advice would you give to a person before they get on a Divvy bike? Well,
like I just said, definitely plan your trip ahead. Make sure that you know where you're planning on starting and where you're planning on ending, so that you have that, so that's not a distraction or a stress factor when you get out there. Another thing is, of course, always obey all traffic signs and signals. Cyclists have all the same rights and responsibilities as motorists on the road in the city of Chicago, so that's very important to be in touch with that and understand that you are responsible for your safety and for the safety of others. Always yield to pedestrians, stop for pedestrians, don't ride on sidewalks, especially when you're on this puppy that goes 20 miles per hour. That's something that we take very, very seriously. And wear a helmet whenever you can. I think that's just another main key.
Safety. We're all about safe. We're the safe ambassadors, right?
Exactly.
And how can people find out more about Divvy?
People can find out more about Divvy by visiting www.divvybikes.com. And that's sort of the base for most of our information. But I would also say, keep a lookout for our team at local community events. We do a lot of pop-ups at, festivals now that people are starting to have, public events again. We also can provide bikes for local community bike rides. That's something that we really enjoy doing, partnering with local communities as a way to, support their events, be able to help people participate who might not otherwise be able to participate, and to just get people on the bikes to understand how fun it really is and how great it is. There's one more thing I wanted to mention that I didn't previously, and that is just related to, people who haven't ridden in a long time. For many people, it can be difficult to feel like you want to get back out there on the road, but there are just a few things that I think are really key. Obviously, the e-bike is something that can really help you get confident and feel strong enough. If you're getting out, maybe you haven't ridden a bike in 10 years, 20 years. But I also just wanted to say, particularly, it's a great way to stay connected to your community, to fight isolation. There is so much that people have had to endure during the pandemic. There was a 2018 study from Brigham Young University that the effects of isolation on your physical well-being compared to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So when you think about that, and you think about the power of the bicycle as a way to get you out in your community, a chance to say hi to your neighbors, a chance to see, any hidden gems, any murals in your neighborhood, all these things that are there for us that make Chicago great. The Divvy bike is a great way to do that. And also, if you may for people who, suffer from arthritis, it's a great low impact way for you to get that boost that you need without, impacting your hips, your knees, your ankles in those ways. And so we just really want to make sure that folks who haven't ridden in a long time also feel welcome and understand what all of those other benefits are. So thanks for letting me add that piece in.
Yes, for sure. And you know what, that gives me inspiration and encouragement, because one of the things I struggle with is getting my family on a bike, and they don't have bikes. And my grandparents really love actually going out on bike rides, but they don't have their own, and they really want to be out there. So this is a good segment to actually talk about with them and the resources that they have when it comes to Divvy. Amanda, we really thank you for coming out, taking the time. Really appreciate it. This is Angel with the Safe Ambassadors. I hope to see you guys out there. Take a Divvy. We'll see you out there. Stay tuned for some more. Thank you.
This next segment is our Learn to Ride class at Garfield Park. These are free classes from the city that teach people of all ages how to ride a bike. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Caro. I'm a Safe Ambassador. I've been a SAFE ambassador for about 2 years now. This is my second summer with the program. So SAFE is an acronym that stands for Streets Are For Everybody, and our main goal is really to educate residents in the city of Chicago about different forms of transportation safety, whether that's as a pedestrian, a cyclist, or a motorist. We really just want to have as many people being as safe as they can out in the city. So as part of our Learn to Ride program, we teach all of our students using the balanced bike method. But before we really get on a bike, we want to make sure all of our students do a helmet check to make sure that their helmet's fitted properly. It's called an eyes, ears, and mouth test. So we use our eyes to look up, make sure we can see the foam of the helmet. The second part is an ears test. So you put your hand like this so that the buckle of the helmet is meeting right below your ears to keep your helmet on nice and snug. And then the last part is the mouth test, so just check and make sure you can only fit about 2 fingers between your chin and the chin strap. So once the helmet's on properly, we move on to the balance bike method of teaching all of our students to learn how to ride.
Hey, my name is Brian Wesolowski. I am one of CDOT's SAFE ambassadors, and I have been with the program for about 1.5 years collectively. The approach that we take to teaching people to learn to ride a bike is the balance method. So we start by actually removing pedals from the bikes and lowering the seat to its lowest spot. That way people are safely on the ground with their feet. We have people walk next to their bikes just to get a feel for it and how the brakes may work, and reminding them to look forward when they're walking their bike. Next, we have them straddle their bike again to get this idea of that center of gravity. And then finally, we take a place where it's all at their own speed, sitting on the bike and getting them to coast. And really all that is sitting down, pushing themselves forward with their feet, and looking for about 5 seconds of coasting. And again, this is where it's really at the student's leisure and at their own pace, because everyone gets that balance at their own speed. Next, what we do is put one pedal on whichever side their dominant foot is. This is called the power pedal, and that helps them to start from a complete stop. And when we do this, we're again looking for coasting, but not using their feet at all, and coming to a complete stop using handbrake. Yeah, did that stop you? Yeah. Awesome, okay, good deal. Finally, when the student is ready and has demonstrated that they can do the power pedal efficiently, we put the other pedal on, raise the seat to the proper height, because if it's too low, your knees are gonna be coming too high, and it's very uncomfortable and very difficult to learn to ride that bike. And then we put them on their way, and it's always really exciting to see them learning to ride the bike.
I'm Antar from Wicker Park. My experience on a bike, it's been about 33 years since I was last on a bike. My dad, he tried hard, man. He did the best he could to teach me how to ride, but you know, for a chubby kid who didn't have a whole lot of confidence, it didn't happen as easy as we would have liked it to. Being honest, my expectation for today was to come here and fail miserably. I was not really prepared to do well. So there was a little bit of, you know, I don't want to say anxiety, but, you know, a little tension coming out here today, being a 38-year-old man now. And so to be able to just get on the bike and balance and, you know, feel the breeze, you know, on your face a little bit was a huge relief. And every time you get a little bit of success, it makes it easier to keep pedaling. The reason why I even came out to take the class, or the reason that kind of brought me out, was during the 4th of July weekend that's coming up. My girlfriend and I are headed up to Michigan for our first trip together. And at that bed and breakfast, there's going to be a bicycle rental. So I'm kind of sneaking out here today to make sure that, you know, when we go on the trip later this weekend, you know, I don't embarrass myself. Biking in the city and just watching how it's grown, and the city, the landscape of it really has become more adaptable and convenient for commuters, is something that I holistically support, being somebody that cares about, you know, emissions levels and the environment. So for me, I go to spin class 3 times a week. So, you know, I have friends of mine that are part of biking groups where they go out with other young professionals and, you know, sometimes ride 15, 20 miles up and down the lakefront. So I'm really looking forward to that, being a part of the commuter landscape, but also getting out on the lakefront in the summertime, riding with my friends and my family members, and staying fit and staying attached to the city. A city that's, you know, just friendlier for pedestrians and and folks from all different walks of life, income levels, fitness and activity levels.
One of the biggest challenges that people are facing at our classes is, of course, the balancing, and that's what you're going at your own pace. What's a little counterintuitive is that our students want to go a little bit slower because they're a little nervous, they have anxieties, they're worried about falling, and going faster can be scary. But actually going faster makes it easier to balance while on the bike. So we really encourage our students to let go of that fear and give themselves bigger pushes when they don't have those pedals on to go a little bit faster, because your bike is going to balance better under those conditions.
Hi, I'm Jack. This is my first year with the Safe Ambassador program, and I found out about this job and this program from a friend of mine that I would bike with. For me, my favorite thing about the Learn to Rides is seeing the different ways that people learn. It's a really individual type of course, and it's really people teaching themselves how to ride a bike and us telling them how to do that. So we see what everyone's individual issues are, whether it's their physical strength or just needing more confidence. And it's really great to see everyone at the end, the joy that people have when they're finally riding a bike after just a 2-hour course.
We actually instruct a lot of adults, and a lot of these adults are coming to us after not having ridden for 5, 10, 20 years. A lot of times after a potentially bad crash that they had when they were younger that kept them off the bike. So there are a lot of fears and anxieties that we see with people that are coming to learn to ride our classes. Some of our students are really passionate about learning the day of, and some students do, but not everyone does. But we really try to create an environment that's special and tailored for that particular student, and not to worry that everyone else learns all at their own paces. We have some students coming every week. I think of one off the top of my head who's come since last summer who is still practicing to learn to ride a bike, and that does not stop him whatsoever.
Hey CAN TV, my name is Felicia Simmons. I found out about the bike ride program from Time Out Chicago. Didn't know how to ride a bike. I rode bikes on the exercise machine, but that was nothing. So I was pretty nervous, as people should be on their first time riding a bike. So when I came in, the instructors, they were warm and welcoming, and they had patience, and they were encouraging, and they had just let me go along with my own pace. I'm back here again, a little more advanced. So I'm looking to be advanced and going into traffic. But I recommend it. It's free, City of Chicago, safe program, good people. You meet new people, good environment. So, hey, why not?
Time to lock it. Locate a space for your bike, preferably a bike rack or street sign. Now safely move to the curb. You can dismount. Time to lock it. Check if the rack's secure. Make sure you have your U-lock. Now face the derailleur outward. Fix the rear wheel and frame to the post. Just like that. Time to lock it.
Hi, I'm Safe Ambassador Brian, and whenever we're riding the bike, we're always at chance for an emergency situation, and commonly this is a flat tire, but others could arise too. Being prepared with the right tools and equipment can make these situations a lot more manageable. Some of the tools that I like to carry on me are a multi-tool. It has lots of different wrenches, some hex, some not, and even a chain repair tool. One of the most common emergency situations you may encounter are going to be that flat tire, and you want to be prepared for that. Make sure you have tire levers. These are going to be really helpful to remove the tire from the rim. Change that tube and patch it up. You need to make sure you have a patch kit as well. This version has the cement and the patch with it, and newer ones instead can just be applied as is without any glue. Once your tube is repaired, you need to be able to fill it back up with air using a tire pump. This one right here has a nice pressure gauge, so you know how much pressure is in it. And this one's a little bit more convenient as it can carry on the frame, if you can see these screws right here. If you don't want to carry a pump, a smaller option is using a CO2 canister. This allows you to fill your tires up more easily without it being strenuous. Although there's a word of note that the CO2 eventually leaches out of the tube and you will need to replace it with air. Finally, you need to make sure you have that tube on you. One way to make it really convenient to carry the tools that you need is in a toolkit like this. It has everything just like this multi-tool with the hex wrenches and bolt wrenches. Also a tire patch kit and tire levers, just like you need for this to repair a tire. Sometimes when going out for a long ride, the weather can be unexpected. You know, if I'm out for more than 2 hours, carrying a rain jacket is paramount to keeping myself dry in this unexpected weather. I always carry Band-Aids just in case I am involved in a crash, as well as this little card for my wallet. This card here reminds me of what I need to do in a crash: staying calm, calling the police, not refusing medical treatment, just to name a few. If you go to pedbikecrashsupport.org, it outlines those steps, and I highly recommend keeping them in your wallet as well. Every time, even when I'm going out for a ride in the daytime, I always carry my lights, one for the back and one for the front. Sometimes I end up being out longer than I expect, and I want to make sure I'm seen at night. And finally, I always keep a Chicago bike map in my bag, just in case my phone ever dies, and I want to make sure the route that I'm heading back home is as safest as possible. These are some of the things that I try to keep on myself every time I'm out on a ride. And if you find that there's things that you're missing, head out to your local bike shop, and they'll be able to outfit you with everything you need for these emergency situations and for you to be able to handle them.